Welcome in. Welcome. Tonight we have the intuitive hour, so stick around. It's going to be amazing. I have a guest joining me shortly, so pull up a chair. If you're into woo, then this is for you, because my intuitive hour, I introduce people who do what I do, people who are psychics, mediums, witches, all that jazz. We're going to be speaking to an amazing, beautiful soul tonight who is new to TikTok, but not new to the game. So I'm going to be inviting her in. Where is she? We'll just wait until some more people arrive. How are we all doing? Have we had an awesome day? We're only 3 days into 2025. How we feeling? How we doing? We're doing amazing. Now that's okay. I am going to be uploading them to YouTube, so you will be able to come back and watch it. Hey Rob, doing good, thanks. We are about to start our segment. I hold a segment on here periodically. I used to hold it last year. It's called the Intuitive Hour, and we sit and have a chat with other intuitives and talk about their journey, their spiritual awakening, how they came into their gifts, what they do. Really cool stories. So pull up a chair if it's something that you're interested in, because it's going to be an awesome chat. Hey girl, how you doing? Hope you're nice and comfy. We've got an hour of chatting to an amazing, beautiful soul, Isabelle. She should be near shortly. There she is. How you doing, girlfriend? Let's have a look. Again, how do I change the boxes? Hey girl, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Oh good, one sec. I'm just trying to fix this box. Fuck, how do I do it?
I am probably no help at all because I feel like a boomer on TikTok.
Hold on one sec. Wait, I've got an idea. I just wanted to go side to side. Hola! Jen, do you know how to fix this? I can't remember. Oh, hang on. No, that's not it. We'll figure it out. Bloody tech, right?
Let me see if I can Google it on my laptop. Weird.
Don't want to disconnect. Hang on. I think I got it. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Google not needed.
There's a way. It's that Manny Gen energy. I won't stop until I get it. Oh, okay, so amazing. Isabelle, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are live on TikTok, and this is the Intuitive Hour. I am your host, Jen from The Genuine Connection, and tonight we will be speaking to Isabelle, who is a psychic medium. She's also a healer and a mentor. So welcome in, Isabelle. It's great to have you here with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Now, for those of you that are new here, what we do is we speak for the whole hour around intuitive flow. We talk about Isabelle's journey and how she came to become a psychic medium, and all the services and offerings that she has, and some pretty cool stories I hear. And then at the end, we hold a little bit of a segment where we can ask questions. Okay, so hold on to your questions, write them down, and we'll come back to those at the end. All right. We aren't doing live readings at the moment, but if you stay to the end, you might just get a reading from this amazing soul. We'll select a couple. We'll see how we go for time. All right, so how does that sound? Real good?
That sounds great.
Amazing. So first of all, Isabelle, what's your story? Tell us a bit about you and what you do and where you're from.
So I'm born and raised in Sydney, Australia. I kind of had a bit of a rough upbringing. The home wasn't always the greatest place to be, unfortunately. I've always identified as an incredibly sensitive person. I was just riddled with anxiety as a kid. I just really struggled from a lot of different angles for a lot of different reasons. And then as a teenager, I developed really severe and debilitating chronic pain and illness. This then, I went to every doctor, allied health professional, did every scan, blood test, therapy that exists on the planet. If it exists, I've probably done it. And nothing would work. Nothing was effective. I was medicated for conditions I didn't actually have. It was really rough. And then when I was about 17, my upstanding Catholic school kicked me out because I couldn't attend classes every day. Despite the fact that I had all the, medical documentation in the world to say that I was unwell. And then my mum couldn't quite deal with my illness, so I got shipped off to live with her mum on the other side of the world in Sweden. What was meant to be a 3-month little break ended up turning into a 1.5 years. I ended up in the hospital system over there because I just progressively got more and more sick. And they took one look at my med list and they were like, these are really dangerous meds for anyone to be on, let alone someone who's so young and doesn't actually have these conditions. So they took me off those meds, and just the space of not existing in the home that I grew up in really enabled me to, for the first time, I had access to my brain again. I could feel things. I could just exist as an 18-year-old. There was too many roles I had to fill in my own home. So I ended up kind of making a life for myself over there, and I very almost stayed over there actually. It was very 50-50 whether I was going to come back to Australia.
How long were you there for?
So I was there for 1.5 years.
Wow.
So it was meant to be 3 months, and then it was 6 months, and then it was 12 months, and then it was 18 months, and then towards the end of the 18 months, I kind of was weighing up whether to actually settle and create a life for myself in Sweden or to come back home. Yeah. Ended up coming back home. That was 2019, so right before COVID had hit. 2020 was rough for a lot of reasons. COVID was the last of my issues. I had a family member at home that was sick. I was dealing with a lot of things in the background, and it just was rough goings. And then I had my first spiritual awakening, which kind of flipped my life upside down. My mum had a tarot deck in the back of her wardrobe, and for whatever reason, I felt a really strong pull to it. And so I got really, really into tarot. Didn't know what I was communicating with or how it was working. I just knew that it was working. I didn't understand any of it. And then I got to talking with a colleague somehow about it, and she asked me if I could read her cards. And I kind of looked at her and I was like, I have no idea if that's something I can do, but I'm willing to try. So we tried, and I was able to read her cards, no issues. And her sister, who'd passed away a few years prior, who I didn't even know existed at the time, came through. And now I had no idea I could talk to the dead. I had no idea I had the ability to spiritually communicate. It was snap of my fingers, the floodgates opened and I could communicate with the whole spiritual realm. Wow. Which was kind of insane and very overwhelming. And it was then through finding spiritual mentors that I was able to hone my gifts, and I also was able to heal my chronic pain and illness for the most part. Traditional medicine, I think has its benefits and has its place in this world, it wasn't able to heal the kind of core wounds that I was holding. And my body was holding all of that unprocessed trauma, and it was making me so incredibly sick.
Yeah.
And so spiritual practices and practitioners who were able to look at me kind of holistically and help me get to the bottom of where this stuff was coming from is how I was able to heal myself.
You do Reiki too, don't you? You're a Reiki
It,
practitioner.
yeah, so I offer energy healings. I don't, they do sometimes include Reiki, but they're not exclusively Reiki. Um, just because I feel like I can offer a broader scope of energy healing than what Reiki allows. Not that I love Reiki.
I'm the same. I loved Reiki when I was first learning it, and then the more in depth I got, there was more rules and stuff, and I'm like, I know this stuff works, but I'm not too shabby with the rules, so I like to use what I can from Reiki that works with my intuitive flow, and it just works even better. So that's what I stick with, and I think a lot of people do that, right?
I don't know. I see a lot of people that like very much like pigeonhole themselves, and so I thought that's what I had to do for a really long time.
Mm.
But then I realized that it wasn't actually serving me. Like I love Reiki and all that it can do, but I am capable of more than what Reiki offers, and so I view Reiki as like one of the tools that I have in my metaphorical tool belt, instead of it just being an isolated service that I offer.
Yeah, no, I love that. So when and how did you first discover your gifts and abilities? Like what reaction? I know you kind of touched on it, but was it then, or did you have anything prior when you were younger? Do you know, because a lot of the
I
time we kind of tap into it, but we've had stuff like we might have seen shadow people, or might have been a bit more like knowing when you were a bit younger, and then it kind of died off. Did you have anything like that?
Not that I can recall. There's big chunks of my childhood that I can't remember because I had like dissociative tendencies, just because that was how my brain could keep me safe as a kid.
Mhm.
Um, my experience as a kid was I always kind of felt like I was like behind like a glass window watching everybody else. It was like, or like I was underwater. Like I could hear everyone was talking, but like I never really understood what was happening. I just
Yeah.
had like so much energy that was in my little body at the time. I was so anxious and I could feel like all the adults around me, everything that they were feeling on such an intense level that like my system was just in overdrive.
Yeah.
Um, and so the friend that I did this, my first ever tarot reading on, she's like an incredibly intuitive woman. She ended up like saving my life a few months later. Um, there was something about her that like sparked something in me. We always used to say that like we were soulmates because like her and I meeting was like it was just meant to be. Like before we worked together, she actually worked with my brother like 200 meters from my house. Like the
Oh,
coincidences were just like
these were bound to meet.
too, yeah. Um, and when like my life kind of came toppling down, she was the cornerstone that kept me afloat. There was something about like every time her and I would be in a room together, like it was like both our intuitive abilities just like ramped up tenfold.
No, I love that.
Um, So there was definitely something about her that activated my abilities. And like
Yeah.
she was already kind of knowledgeable about this, like all kind of spiritual stuff, whereas I knew nothing about anything. Um, I just like knew that I could pull cards, and then after that reading with her, that I could communicate with the other side, which like I had no concept that I could do that whatsoever.
And what did you
Um,
feel like when you first started realizing that? Like, how did you feel about what was your reaction and the reaction of others around you when you started kind of opening up and talking about that you could?
Ironically, my best friend at the time, she's been witchy her whole life, but she never spoke to anyone about it. So it wasn't until I brought it up that she was like, "Oh yeah, I've been doing that since I was like 6." And I was like, "What? Like I've known you how long?" Um, and it was also at a point where, like, the first time I spoke to that friend's sister and did that reading, to like a few weeks later, I had come to the realization some things from my childhood had come to light for the first time. And I had brought them to my mum's attention at the time. She had a very big reaction, and then like I was still living at her house at the time for 6 weeks. Not once did she ask me if I was okay. Like I'd basically dropped a bomb of like this horrific thing has happened to me. And not once did I get like, "Are you okay?" I tried to bring it up with her. It was ignored. Like yada yada yada. On the back end of like years of issues. And so at that point, I was like, okay, like this, we're done. Like, I need to draw a line in the sand because this is harming me a lot more than it's helping me. So I moved out. I went no contact. So I pretty much lost all but two people in my life at the time because everyone that I knew and loved was connected to my mother. Um, and so that process was really devastating. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I had a very small circle of friends that were intuitive as well, so they were fully supportive and behind me in those abilities. But I also lost almost everyone I'd ever cared about at the same time, so it was very overwhelming.
Yeah, because that it can feel like that. Even for people who, you know, don't have that disconnection with the family, they can still feel very alone because nobody gets it, nobody understands it, right? I mean, you're quite lucky to have those people around you to help guide you through it and teach you a bit of the ropes and then finding a mentor. But so many people out there feel alone and feel like, oh my god, am I going crazy? And borderline, because that's a fine line for some people. They can go through the spiritual awakening and it can actually affect their mental health if it's
Oh,
not,
100%.
looked at or dealt with in a delicacy. So
100%.
I love that you had that support. So that's amazing.
Mm.
That's awesome. All right. So how I can't read my writing. It's been a while. Oh, how do you receive your messages? So, we talk about the clairs, right?
Mm.
And most of the people that are regs on here understand what clairs are. Some of them don't, but we'll pretend that they don't. So, when we talk about the different clairs, we use them all majority of the time. But what one are you more drawn to? I feel like I've got an answer, but I want to see if I'm right.
So when like at the very beginning, it was like 99% clairaudience. So it was
Oh
like people
wow.
were like popping into my head and I could hear them.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was in my voice, sometimes it was in like distinct accents and all this kind of thing. Um, Now I would say it's a combination of clairvoyance, clairaudience, and clairsentience.
Mm.
Um, so it's a combination of visuals. I hear them, and then there are certain things that I just have a knowing about in my body. I'm also like a very much an empath, and so my default with empathy is physical. So I
Yeah.
can tune into somebody's body very easily and know exactly what it is that they're feeling, which is also pretty cool.
There's a that's my superpower. Um, so which one do you prefer? Like I know, sorry, my dog keeps walking around with his tap shoes. You need to go on your bed. On your bed. It's frustrating me. I get really sensitive when I'm trying to focus and I can hear background audio. I'm like, just
No,
that
understood.
neurospiky undiagnosed shit.
Oh, 100%. It was this, I realized I was autistic and ADHD at like the same time I had my spiritual awakening as well. So it was just like layer on layer on layer on layer. Like,
Stack the cake. Wow, that's
yeah.
crazy. All right. So do you have a favorite Claire that you kind of lean on a little more than the others, or you kind of just mixed bag of lollies?
Oh, I find clairaudience gives me the most amount of detail.
Mm.
Because spirit then can get really specific and they can use, like, they can give me the verbiage that they want to use instead of like a visual, which is kind of up to my ability to be able to recognize what that visual is and then verbally communicate it. Which I find visuals like for clients can be really reassuring because I can physically see where they might be in 3 months time or 6 months time, or like I can see the outcome of things.
Yeah.
um and so I find for clients that's a really reassuring kind of point that they can hold on to. But just like all of me, I'm a little chaotic and all over the place, so I like a mix because that's just the way that I roll.
That's why we click. So I'm chaotic as fuck. I'm like many gen energies of boom, 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 like pop a rocket.
Yeah.
Awesome. So when Do you have any? Okay, this question you've already answered, so I won't go to touch on it again. But I'll flip it up a little bit. So you said your background is Swedish, right?
Hmm.
So are there any cultural practices in Sweden that are related to woo?
So you do have like Norse like mythology, and there's also like a lot of there's like Norse. I don't know what the verbiage is for the tribes in Scandinavia.
Like the
Um,
Viking stuff, eh?
Kind of. Oh,
Is that
this is
like
gonna annoy me.
Thor and Osiris? Um,
Odin.
Odin. That's it. I don't
Um,
even know.
Let me see if it's on. I've got this book here. It's called The North Shaman. Yeah,
Ooh.
let's go. Um, Basically, there exists like your traditional ancient tribe in Scandinavia. I I've been a little disconnected from that part of my heritage just because of the way that I've lost contact with my family. So one of my goals in the new year is to see if I can try find that community again. Um, because my Swedish heritage is something I've always felt so connected to my whole life. It's always something that I have loved. Um, and I've always just had so much pride and love around it. Um, so I would love to actually, funnily enough, I got a Facebook ad this morning for like a 2-day retreat in March run by a guy who specializes in Norse traditions.
Oh
And I
wow.
was like, oh, this, yeah.
Spirit. Oh, spirit's definitely showing you the way. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So my next question is, what has been your biggest lesson so far on your journey?
Oh. Um, I think it's that I'll always be okay. I think I have been like dragged down to the pits of hell more times than I care to count in my like very short span of life. Um,
Because how old are
and
you? Am I
I'm
asking?
24.
24. Oh, just a baby.
I'm just a baby.
Wow, that's
um,
awesome.
like I more times than I can count, I've had the floor ripped out from under me, and I've sat at rock bottom, having like everything taken away from me, and no concept of how I'm going to be okay or make it through. But I always do, and I always have. Um, so I think that resiliency and that knowledge of like it also just helps with confidence moving forward. If like, yeah, shit can fall apart again, and I know that I can put it back together. I've done it now
Yeah.
too many times to count. Um,
Puzzle master, right? So like,
and that like sometimes I often believe that things need to fall apart sometimes so that something better can come in its place. Um, and I am a smidge bit stubborn and resistant to change. So oftentimes it does get kind of yanked out from under me. But in hindsight, I can always look back on it and go, oh, well, that was actually a really shit position I was in. I just didn't realize it. And
yeah,
that needed to fall apart because, you know, and also like to step into my purpose as a healer, like anyone who truly walks this path has been to hell and back. And you can't sit with people in their shit if you haven't sat in yours,
100%. You can only
you
ever take
know?
someone to the depth of how where you've been. 100 I'm
Exactly.
on that. Yeah. Okay. I love that. I love that share. Thank you. So have we got any cool or unreal stories, readings, any big wow moments, like memorable moments that really kind of just stick out in your mind when it comes to your reading or your awakening or whatever it is?
Mm.
We like the cool ghost
Yeah,
stories.
yeah, yeah. Um, there's two that are coming to mind. The first is that like this house that I currently live in and the previous apartment that I lived in have both had like ghosts that reside in the house that kind of were the original like owners or tenants that then have become like part of not part of my spirit team, but they like watch over me and my roommates. So I have this, my old apartment, it was this lovely old little woman named Maria. And I have friends who are not spiritual at all, and they'd sleep the night and they'd hear like an old Italian woman singing. And there's no one in the building that fits that description. And like she would constantly look over us, check in on us. And I have a similar thing here in this house. The ghost of this house will come and physically open my bedroom door if I've spent too much time in there. She'll like literally like pop her head in to make sure that I'm okay. And it's just, it feels just like the biggest like hug from spirit. And it's just the coolest thing.
That hearing that story, most people would freak the fuck out and be like, holy shit, I need to get a priest in or whatever. But you talk to people like us and it's like, yeah, that's a regular occurrence, you know. It's like,
well, like I'd rather have like I love having someone that resides in this house spiritually that has my back. That's so fucking cool. Especially when you do this line of work, you can become a bit of a beacon sometimes for energies, and other people can bring them into your spaces. So like it's just another line of defense and a layer of protection and love that like can only make things better.
100. That's, yes, definitely. Any other ones? Like what's the second one that you've got?
I think you were on live when I told this the other day. I had like the furthest like stretch of like, how the fuck did this happen? What is my life? Was I went to sleep one night and this old woman came to me in my dreams, and I won't say her name, but let's call her Louise. There was this little old woman named Louise who came to me in my dream, and she was frantic and panicked, and she was like running around in circles, like desperate for help. And I was like trying to like wrangle this old woman who like wouldn't stop like running in circles. And I remember waking up and I was like, I need to talk to Alex, who was my chiropractor at the time. But I was like, this is weird. I like sent all of my friends a message being like, anyone have a little old woman by the name of Louise that they'd like to claim? Like, does she belong to anyone? It was like too early in my journey to be able, like, I didn't know whether she was alive or had passed. But I had an appointment with my chiropractor that evening. So I went to him and I was like, hey, might sound a little odd, but bear with me. Do you know a little old lady by the name of Louise? And he was like, Louise, like, said her last name. And I was like, I don't know what her last name is, but like, here's a list of her descriptors. And he was like, yeah, that's my girlfriend's grandma. And I was like, whoa, like, hold, like this, that's like 3 steps removed. Like truly mind boggling. And I was like, she came to me in my dream last night. She is really frantic and struggling. I feel like she needs a lifeline. Like, she is not okay. So he went home, told his girlfriend about it. She then called her grandma up and like didn't say anything about me, but just said to her like, hey, like, how are you going? Like, I just want to check in on you. Grandma immediately bursts into tears because feels like she's like circling the drain. She's struggling. Her husband had just gotten ill at the time, so she felt like she couldn't bring any concerns of hers. And apparently they just sobbed on the phone for like 2 hours to each other because like she had just been struggling so much, but she didn't feel like she could reach out to anybody. And I was like, how the fuck did her higher self or spirit guides or whoever it was, like, find me so I could talk to Alex, so he could tell the granddaughter, so she could, like, I just felt like there were so many steps to that.
It's so interesting though, knowing that you were going to that chiropractor that day. You wake up with that. So your clear empathy, your clear that, man, whew, that's fire. That's
fire. I think that was one of those moments where I was like, oh, I do have something here. Like, I was like, that, it just felt so crazy to me because at that point I hadn't really read for anyone else other than like 1 or 2 friends.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is wild to me that like I feel like so many steps were involved in that.
Yeah.
And that, like, because I could have also just not said anything because like I get weird dreams sometimes, you know, but like I woke up with a like, and my first thought was, I need to talk to Alex. And I was like, I don't know why I need to talk to Alex, but I had an appointment like 4 hours later. There's like a moth in my room. That's definitely like it's always one that sticks out in my head as like the kind of the coolest or like the weirdest kind of stretch of like, a lot of people think this is just kind of horse shit and what we do is scam people, but I was like, there was too many things that lined up there. Like this isn't a coincidence, like this is real.
I love those moments. I don't know if you've had, because you're quite new to TikTok, aren't you? So guys, if you are in here, make sure you're chucking Isabelle a follow, because this is gonna be one to watch. I'm telling you, right? Um, but you're quite new to TikTok, right? Um,
Yeah.
have you had many people come in and when you've given them reads, just be absolutely fucking blown away?
Um, I think like the majority of people who come to me in my one-on-one spaces are people that are feeling they recognize that they have like a heightened level of sensitivity. They're not quite sure where it comes from, and they're
Yeah.
incredibly like shy or kind of not super confident, or they're feeling really kind of lost and stuck. And so I kind of the crux of what I do is like providing a safe space for people to kind of unravel and then bringing through that spiritual guidance of like, well, here's a roadmap out for you. And so people walk out feeling like 10 times lighter and they feel like they're not going crazy anymore and that they are going to be okay. And that like, I had Jenna actually described, she said, I feel like a warm hug. And I was like, I feel like that's just like perfectly encompasses what my one-on-one spaces are. They're a nice big warm hug. Um, and I really
I love
pride
that.
myself on being able to provide that safe space for people and I am very aware how much trust people put into me, and like at least half the people that come into my spaces come in and they just immediately start crying. And they're like, I'm so sorry I'm crying. I'm like, all of you is welcome here. You want to cry for
Yes.
the whole hour? Be my guest. I don't care. Like, I will hold space for it all. Like, and that's just, it's so beautiful to me and it's such an honor.
Yeah. Well, I love that. I love that. All right. What's the next question? Do you have a favorite book, an author, or a mentor that you kind of go to in whether it be for, spirituality, whether it be for mindset, whether it be for calming energy? Did you have a book or a mentor or someone that you really like? For me, I absolutely love Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is the daddy, big daddy, right? He's mindset, fucking power, right? But
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a knowledge whore, so I can rattle off names like all fucking night because I'm just, I need to know this, I need to know that, I need to grab all this kind of information. So when you first kind of stepped into this, what book kind of went, if you had a book
Oh,
or
I've got
a
my books here,
movie or
actually.
something like that?
I don't know
Daddy.
if it was so much a book as it was mentors.
Mhm.
So there's three kind of, I've worked with like countless numbers of people, but like there's three main ones that I would think of. Two of them now own a company called Ancient Soul Gardens. So
Oh,
it's Savannah Bolan, and she's just gotten married, so her last name is now Lauren New. They're both Peruvian shamans. So I'm also initiated into said Peruvian lineage. I'm not a shaman, but I'm a part of the tribe.
wow. That's cool.
So I also bring like a shamanic perspective to a lot of the work that I do as well, which is really cool. Lauren has Savannah actually was the person that she was my first mentor. She was my kind of gateway into the spiritual realm. She taught me the foundations of everything that I know. Lauren really helped me with like higher level healing. So she's the one I've done all my shamanic initiations through. She was my Reiki teacher. Um, I was given attachments from my mother at birth, which sat on my shoulders, causing chronic pain for the first 22 years of my life. She was the one who removed them. If I'm like really, really struggling with something and I need help and I need a healing, she's my first option. She's my first go-to. And then Andrea Lovett from Sweet Release Healing. She taught me how to read.
Oh, wow.
She is an incredible woman. I've sent so many people her way. She teaches people how to use their gifts in like a 1-2 hour session. So you can go to her, book a 2 hour session, and know how to use your psychic, empathic, and mediumship side of your intuition, like one and done. So I'm currently progressing through her school. I've done mentorships with her. I've had a bunch of one-on-ones. She really taught me the methodology of how I read.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That is so cool. All right, what's your favorite thing about what you do?
Ooh. Oh, that's a hard question. What's the favorite thing? I think I really take a lot of pride in being a safe space for people. I I see it. People come into my sessions and they're so stressed and they're so lost and they're so desperate for help and they're so kind of unempowered, and they get to walk out with validation, empowerment, clarity. Sometimes there's a big cry and we've like taken everything apart and put it back together. Like, the fact that I get to help people and make their lives better through them trusting me is like mind boggling to me. And it's still something that trips me up. I'm like, people are paying me to help them. But like, I also, the transformation is phenomenal. And like, when I get follow-up emails from my clients being like, this, and this that you said came true. And like, I did what you said and everything fell into place. And like, that, like, it's like such a full circle moment when they get those follow-up emails being like, my life is so much better because of that like one session with you. And I'm like, oh, like, brings me to tears every time.
Yeah, it's like crack, eh? As I call it, my crack.
Yeah.
I don't literally do crack. People don't get it twisted. It's like a drug. It's one of the reasons why you see the smiles on people's faces, right? To help them heal themselves, to help them get to that moment of, like, to help them feel how we can feel and to help them see what we can see is
and like helping them like find their center again. Like, I bring people back to themselves, because like I don't want people to be dependent on me. Like, most people need just like a one and done session with me and then they're good. They just need a slight course correction and I just bring them back to center and then they fucking fly. Like,
oh, that's awesome. All right. What advice would you give someone embarking on this type of journey like yours?
like being a healer, or like a more just like a self-spiritual kind of thing?
Any, whatever you
Self-spiritual?
want it to, yeah.
I'd say find community if you can, because there is so much power in connection. And if you can find people that have similar-ish beliefs to you, they like, you can see them and they can see you. And there's something so healing about having someone that you can look in the eye and they can see and embrace and love all of who you are. And you don't have to like chop anything off or hide anything or shrink in any way. You can be your whole self. I'd say that's the most powerful thing. Like, there's so much power in proximity to other people that can fully witness and love all of who you are.
Yeah. Best answer ever. Honest. All right. So I want to know a bit more about, you've got some services that you provide, and then you've got a little something happening tomorrow.
I do, yeah.
Talk a little bit more about that while I plug.
So, yeah, all good. So I currently offer one-on-one services. So you can book one-off sessions with me. You can get a psychic reading, and that encompasses any kind of spiritual communication that you want to facilitate. I'm happy to be the bridge in between. For energy healings, so that's what we were talking about before. It's kind of a combination of things. It's some Reiki. I work with your guides. It's a very intuitive process, and I can just really help you kind of release any energy that's not serving you and help kind of get the energy in your body moving properly again. And then the third is mentorship sessions. So this is for people who really want to pick my brain, or they want to just kind of someone who can be a bit of a bouncing board for them and just kind of allow them to talk through anything that they're dealing with, or if they want like practical advice about like, how do I do shadow work? How do I grid my house? How do I, like those kind of practical questions. It's for people who want to like pick my brain a bit.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow morning, I'm hosting a free masterclass called understanding your sensitivity and how to turn it into your superpower. Sorry, my mind blanked there. So it's for, yeah, I'm excited. It's for all of my people who identify as highly sensitive. So whether you identify as an empath, whether you're neurodivergent, whether you've dealt with chronic pain and illness, whether you've, dealt with a shit ton of trauma, maybe you're like me and you can tick all of those boxes. And if that's the case, I see you. Please come along. I will help you. I really want to give people an understanding of where that sensitivity comes from, how you can shift your perspective on it and view it as a gift and not a burden, and then give you some really easy and practical tools to do that. And you can take them and implement them into your everyday life, and they will make things so much easier for you. So I'm really excited for that.
I'm so excited too. I can't wait. I'm all about that sensitivity and that softness, and I'm ready. I'm going, guys. So if you ain't going, what the fuck are you doing? Just get there. It's gonna be a fucking vibe. I can feel it. I absolutely love your energy and what you stand for. We vibe. We vibe because we the tribe, yo. 100%. Amazing. So thank you for answering all my questions. Now we're gonna hand it over to the floor, and if anybody has any questions to ask Isabelle, now is the time. I can see Joe's got one there, and it says, what time is tomorrow on? I think it's 10?
So it's 10 a.m. Sydney time. If you're in a different time zone, if you go to book it, it'll tell you what it is in your local time zone. And if you can't make it, as long as you've signed up, I will send you an email once we're done with the recording, so you can get access to the masterclass, and then also a little something else that I'll be launching as well that
So where
you can get first dibs at.
Where can they
so you can head to my website, which is just isabellerose.com.au. I don't have enough TikTok followers for a clickable link in my bio yet. You need 1,000. I'm at like 640.
Follow her, guys. Everyone follow her now. Let's get it.
The other option is you can click on my Instagram in my TikTok profile, and that will take you over there, which gives you a clickable link to the website. Or you can just type it into your web browser, and there'll be a pop-up that comes up that will take you straight where you need to go. Yeah.
Amazing. What other questions have we got, people? We got some questions for Isabelle. Do you get called anything for short?
Some people will call me Izzy or Iz. I don't mind either or. The only thing that annoys me is Isabella, because it's not my name. But anything else flies.
I'm all about nicknames, so I'm gonna come up with one for you. I just wanted to know what was okay and what wasn't. So
yeah, I don't like Bella, so I prefer I go the Izzy kind of route.
Yeah.
But whatever works.
Mad. Have we got some questions, guys? My daughter is Isabella and always gets called Isabelle. Yeah.
What is... I've my entire life I've been called Isabella. It's a weird... I don't know what it is.
When we're not doing readings at this point, I can't see what your name is because it's a little symbol. But yeah. There you go. Veda says, where are you located?
So I'm in Sydney, Australia. All of my business is online, so I do everything through Zoom. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, we can connect. And hopefully this year, fingers crossed, if I can get there, I'd love to do some in-person stuff as well eventually.
Anybody else got any more questions? I'm trying to think of some more. Ooh, a masterclass sounds fun. Yeah, Laura, if you head over and follow Isabelle, you can, or you go to her website, which is isabellerose.com.au.
Yeah.
And you can head there and join up. We're all going to be there tomorrow, 10 a.m. Sydney time. What's it called again?
So understanding your sensitivity, how to turn it into your superpower.
Superpowers. Let's go.
It's very cliche, but it works.
My mind always goes blank at question time. Sky. It's like, questions? I've got plenty, but I can't fucking remember them all. Jen says, can people be sensitive in different ways?
100%. So this is something I'll dive further into tomorrow, the different kinds of sensitivity and where it comes from. But there's different ways that everyone perceives energy. So everyone's going to be a little bit different, depending on who you are, what you've been through, what your wiring is. I group it into like 3 main categories, but you'll need to come along tomorrow to find out what they are.
Gotta keep the goods for the show, eh?
Yeah.
Amazing. We got more questions, guys. Come on, don't be shy. You know, the question that you're wanting to ask, someone else is probably wanting to ask it as well. I always say that.
Always
and we
the
don't
case.
do shy. You know, in here we don't do shy. It's a safe space. No judgment.
I am.
What was the name of the lady that helped you tap into your gifts?
So her name is Andrea Lovett. She's from Sweet Release Healing. If you want to send me a message, you're more than welcome to, and I can send you her info. Yeah. Will the masterclass make me cry? I mean, I don't know. If it does, I hope it's in a good way. It's really like, it's an entry-level class that is really going to validate a lot of people's experiences and give you the kind of knowledge and understanding about why you maybe are the way that you are and help empower you. So if that's likely to make you emotional, maybe.
Hey, it's not a sensitivity class, master class if there's no crying. Come on. I know I'm gonna cry, but then I cry in fucking Home and Away, so this is it's pretty easy to make me cry. Perfect, thank you. You had such good questions. I'm going blank too. I'm a crier for sure. Jen's got another one. As a sensitive person, how would you regulate your nervous system?
And again, you'll have to come tomorrow and I'll get into the nitty-gritty of it. But it would be clearing and grounding and protecting your energy field. So grounding you can do using any of the elements that you feel connected to. Literally just like putting your bare feet on the ground is one of the fucking best things you can do for yourself. It's not just like a hippie woo-woo practice. It's backed by science. And I'll get into all the sciencey aspects of it tomorrow. Water is super, super cleansing. You can like release some shit into the fire. You can like have a wind bath, like any of the elements. Getting back to nature really connects us back to ourselves. And the next would be having energetic hygiene practices. So regularly clearing and protecting your energy field so that you're not carrying around stuff that's not yours, and also allowing a layer of filtration between you and the outside world.
Wind bath, yes. I always put hugging a tree in there too. Me and a tree go way back in Byron, and I kind of fell in love. And I like telling the story about how I've never been rooted so hard by a tree before, and I mean grounding. I chuck a spin on it because my mind goes there, but it's just a joke. But hugging a tree. Like, you know how they say, oh, there's the tree huggers. Yeah, do you know how good it is? How good it is to actually hug a tree. Like, it's a little bit left of center, but who fucking wants to do normal these days, eh?
Yeah. Sky said before, will there be Sky asked a question before, will there be a replay of the masterclass? For anyone who signed up, yes. You'll get, even everyone who attends, I will send you a recording of it once it's done. And do you do cards too?
Do you do cards?
What's your I do. So if you book a psychic reading with me and you want a card reading, just let me know. I have a bajillion decks. Tarot is just like a very small aspect of what I do. I find I can often get a lot more depth than what tarot cards offer, but it's a really helpful tool. What's my favorite deck? I have it here. There's 2 answers that come to mind. One is my personal tarot deck, which I can't remember the name of, but it's a really, really feminine deck. There's very few male characters that occur in it. It has just this like very beautiful energy that I love. The second is this Starseed Oracle deck. It's got the most beautiful imagery, the most beautiful messages. I love them.
Do you only read tarot, or do you do oracle as well?
I do oracle as well. So often like when a client books a reading with me, before I jump on the call, I'll have a quick scan of the shelf I've got at decks. And then I'll kind of see what I gravitate towards. So like I did a client reading the other day where I was like, I feel like she needs something from this deck. And so I pulled a card before I even jumped on the call with her. And then we like got to talking and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, funny you should say that. Here's a card with that exact message that I pulled 20 minutes ago. So yeah, I always check in with my shelf of decks before I do a reading or anything else for anyone. And I'll just kind of see where it takes me. Yeah.
I always do that before a read, if they haven't told me specifically, because normally I give them a space to say, you know, they can pick, but most of the time it's general. But then when they get on the call, it's like, well, actually, I'd like to speak about this. And I will sit there too, and I kind of go, like, it's like, you know, those fucking radar things that they take to the beach, and it's like, beep, 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 beep. That's what it kind of feels like. It's like, oh, I'm gravitating towards this deck. I'm going to grab this. I don't know if I'll need it, but majority of the time it's like, boom. These are the cards that are giving all the answers, and I fucking love it because Spirit is on point every time.
1,000%.
Have we got more questions, guys? If not, maybe we've got some time to pull some cards. Maybe we'll pull for 3 people. Maybe how would you like to do it?
I'm happy to do whatever. I'm easy. I've got my tarot deck here and my oracle deck here.
All right. So the way you could do it is, you could either select the people that you're drawn to, the ones that need it, or we can play an intuitive game. Or here we go. Got another one. Do you have specific practice that you do before you read for people?
Ooh. It will vary. Generally, I need at least like 15 minutes of uninterrupted time before I jump on a call, at the very least, just to really make sure that I'm in a good place, that, you know, I'm not carrying anything from my day into the session. I'll do my like kind of energy hygiene practices. I'll make sure that I'm clear. I'll, you know, put a protective layer of light over myself. I'll sit and I'll meditate and breathe before I jump on a call, just so that I'm as like clear as possible.
That's a good question. Have you ever had anyone you couldn't read before?
Oh, actually, my sister. We haven't spoken in a few years now, unfortunately, but we were in contact while I was at the start of my spiritual journey. And any time I tried to read her cards, I couldn't. It's like it just wouldn't come through. I'd have to get my friend to help. I don't know if I think I was just too close to her, and there was like too much bias. There was like a lot of things in between the two of us. And so I don't think without the training and the kind of emotional stuff that was between us, I could never get a clear line on her. She'd ask me for readings, and I'd either kind of walk her through doing a reading for herself, or I'd get a friend to help me. Professionally speaking, there's one woman that comes to mind. Her energy was incredibly closed off. She was looking for a very specific answer from me. She felt very boarded up. I also didn't walk into that session. I'd like gotten home late from something, and so I like literally ran in the door and had to jump straight on the call. So I didn't have that like at least 10 to 15 minutes to like center myself. And then she came in with this very like closed off energy, and she was looking for a very specific answer. And so it wasn't that I wasn't able to read her, but I couldn't get that same level of depth that I normally do.
Yeah. Definitely. I've had that before when I first started with my mentor. One of the things she said was, I love the way when people teach and they show you their way, but they tell you to be open to finding yours and what works for you, right? Because there's not one shoe fits all, so to speak, in this realm especially. And one of the first things she said was she doesn't read for family and friends because of the discernment aspect of knowing too much. She'd always just be like, how about I just pull a card and we can see how that resonates for you, what it says. like a bit, I'm jumping in and I'm reading all my friends and family because I wanted to really push myself and test myself. And that's actually what got me really good at it, like being able to discern my different energies. However, I do have one cousin who doesn't like me reading for her because I do know way too much. Like, she's like my bestie at the same time. And sometimes when I'm reading she's quite anxious. And when I'm reading the cards, I'm really in it, like trying to figure out, no, what's mine, what's
It's
true.
hard. It's definitely like you've got more biases you have to keep in check when you do a reading for someone who's close to you, because you have such an intimate knowledge of them and their world and how they work. And so they might ask you a question of like, well, should I do this? And like you might cognitively be like, well, yeah, of course you should, or of course you shouldn't. And you have your own reasons for believing that. So it's just like another, it's not impossible. It's just a bias that you have to be able to keep in check. And sometimes that objectivity is really hard when you've got such a personal vested interest. Like I haven't tried, me and my sister haven't had contact for a while now, so I don't know if I tried now if I would be able to or not.
I could have took a day too, because I've had days where
it was on multiple occasions. Like I know it was at least 3 or 4 different times. I was like, I can't get anything. It was like a wall.
Yeah, and maybe because I've had that too before. I remember when I did reach out and just people be like, I'm giving away free reads while I'm learning, and I accidentally sent it to my best friend's ex-best friend. And she said yes. So I was like, oh, sweet, I'll just do it. I'm fine. No issues there. But when I connected with her for the read, I was like, hey, just going to clear the air right now. You don't need to worry about anything that comes through because I will not speak. I'm massive on integrity, and what happens in this reading stays in this reading. At first, I felt her open. As soon as I heard her say that, she heard me say that, and I said my friend's name. I said, I'm not going to go back and tell anybody anything. She went and closed up. And everything I said, even though I know there was some stuff going on there, nah, that's not.
People have to be open to it, because it's like, especially like when you actually know what you're doing as a reader and as a healer, you see such a level of depth into people. Like you go, I don't know, you probably do the same thing. I go right to the core of it. I talk to you, that like 8-year-old version of you that's hurting. I get to the core of what's going on. And so you've got to be prepared for that, and you've got to be willing to explore that.
Definitely. Do we have any last questions before we... Oh, here we go. Does it get tiring tapping into other people's energy?
Oh, well, now I have... I've trained that ability to the degree now where I'm generally speaking not doing that anymore. At the start of my journey, like it took me probably 2 to 3 years before I wasn't overwhelmed by my gifts. It was like this like floodgate for 3 years that I could not for the life of me figure out how to put like any kind of anything up against it. And it was fucking exhausting. I also spent my entire life being an empath, growing up in a volatile home and just in naturally being a sensitive person, and then you throw in the trauma and then neurodivergence and the chronic illness and like everything else. My ability to feel what other people are feeling is something I've had my entire life. But if you come to the masterclass on Saturday, I'll teach you how to not feel other people's energy as much, how to place a few boundaries and help with that level of overwhelm.
You know what? I even see so many readers and healers not doing that enough, that they just literally...
They go looking into people's shit without permission?
Yeah. That's an ick of mine.
Grinds my gears.
I can understand to a point when it's for the person's highest good. That I can understand. However, I'm still... It irks me when people do that. Like, I don't... People come in here and ask about other people. I'm like, I'm the wrong reader. I'm not going to do that.
The amount of times I've been asked, like, does this person want to get back with me? And I'm like, I can't look at... Like, they didn't ask.
You know what
I don't have permission to go rifling through their shit. Like...
I say,
not cool.
Pick up the phone and ask them. Pick up the phone and ask them. It's called communication. And then you get the, oh, well, they've blocked me. Well, there's your answer, babe.
There's your answer.
Your answer. How about we bring the energy back and focus on you and make you the best version of you, so then you attract what is right for you rather than attracting the same shit because you're stuck in it, you know?
1000%. And there are so many readers that will go and answer that question like with no qualms. But I think it then like it hurts your integrity, because if like say a person that person was then friends with came and booked me, they would then have in the back of their mind that I might be telling them shit about them. Like it's just it undermines your entire like business and practice, I think.
Yeah, it does. Like I usually say, if you have a private one-on-one reading with me and I pick up your energy and I can see what's going on in your energy based around that person, I can speak to it, but I'm not going to directly tap in and say what he's feeling or thinking or, you know, on that type of level. That's a no-no for me.
Laura asked before, how long have I been doing this? So I set up my business now almost 3 years ago. So professionally speaking, 3 years. It was like almost 2 years prior to that I first had my spiritual awakening. So it's been almost 5 years, all in all.
Yeah. I think Kelly said maybe I worded it wrong. I'm doing readings and stuff like that. Is that tiring?
It can be.
On your energy and the
it does. Like I'm mindful of like how many clients I take in a day. My booking system is automatically capped at a certain number. Just because also the nature of what I do goes very deep. I'm not doing these like light, airy fairy, like the love of your life is coming in 2 weeks, like go put on a pink shirt and he'll like know who you are. Like it's deep emotional work. But also any good reader knows that like what I do doesn't come from me. I am just simply like the bridge between you and the spirit world. So like I can do like 3 or 4 hours of like seeing like 20 people in that short span of time and I'm fine. Because I'm just the channel. And it can get exhausting if you're doing like a really large number of readings in a short amount of time, because you're needing to like draw so many different lines. But yeah, it's so varied. Sometimes I do 2 readings and I'm like, I'm fucking done. Like that's it. Like I've reached my capacity, and then other days I do like 20. So it's also varies.
So JK says, I'm picking up on my loved one's body pain. It releases when I touch them. Is this normal?
Sounds like you might be a healer, babes. That means that you're an empath. And having the physical aspect of empathy is the rarest kind. So you're a rare little gem. It also means that you have a healing touch to a certain degree. Or not to a certain degree, like you definitely do. I don't know if you identify as a healer, if it's like something you've dabbled in. You sound like a natural healer.
Are you from New Zealand? Are you Māori? Because I literally just heard midi midi. So I don't know if that is something that you do. I am Māori, yes. Yeah. Because I literally just seen hands on and it looks like massage, but I've never actually had midi midi done before, but I know of it. But that's
I'm seeing
like
I can see like it's like a beam of light that's coming down that like comes through like your arm out through your hand. It's like this stream of light that's coming like in through your shoulder and like coming down your arm into your hand.
Yeah,
maybe,
I think Joe. I think midi MIRI midi midi. I think it's like healing massage. I think. I'm not too sure. We have to ask. Midi midi. Yeah. No, that's okay. All right. So, how are we going to do this? You can pull some cards for, say, 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
Like, and how do you want to do it? Do you want to pick, or do you want to play the intuitive game?
I'm happy to do first in, best rest.
All right.
Whoever wants one, chuck it in the comments. First 3 people. Yep.
All right. So first 3 people to put a green heart in the chat. There we go.
Ooh. There's like 6. What we can alternatively do is I can channel collectively. So I can do like...
All right, so do 3 and then you can do a collective channel.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
Yeah. Oh my God, there's like...
I've got here
1, 2,
Veda.
3, 4, 5, 6,
Veda.
7, 8.
Yeah,
I'll
we'll
jump
just do
on
the
live
first
after
3.
this and do some readings as well. If anyone wants to stick around after we're done here.
Veda, JK, and Gussie.
Okay, perfect.
They're our lucky 3.
All right.
The rest of you,
Veda, would you prefer
make sure you follow
a message from my Starseed Oracle deck, or I have my traditional tarot deck here? Laura, I'll jump on live after this if you want to hang around and do more card readings.
whatever you're
what are you drawn to for you? Let me see. Ooh, Starseed. That was like Oracle all the way. It was like the tarot was just feeling nothing.
Interesting.
Do you have a question, or do you want me to just do like a general pull? Oracle's a little more like message based. I generally just do general pulls when I do the Oracle. General. Cool. All right, let's have a look. What does Veda need? Sometimes they just come. My version of tarot, if you stick around for long enough, you'll see it's very chaotic. Shit just flies everywhere. I pull a million cards. It is all over the joint. Emily, I'll jump on another live after this and do tarot readings for like, I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour. If you want to stick around.
Make sure everyone's checking her follow.
Yeah, I think we're done with those 2. All right. Woohoo! What have we got? All right, the first card that's come out is called We the Hathors. You can see that there. It says Deep Love, Mother's Milk, Birth is a Portal. And then you have I Remember. And it says Soul Plan, the Fated Life versus Destiny Life. So I see this as like you have an opportunity, if you're not already in it, approaching really, really quickly to kind of create a new life for yourself. Maybe one not that you had anticipated or originally planned for, but one that your soul has agreed for you to go upon before you reincarnated. And that portal, if it's not already open, is imminently going to be opened up for you. That's so beautiful. I love that for you.
While you were reading those cards, I literally heard the frog outside. Transformation. And Veda's in my 7-day challenge. I have surrendered. Oh, I love that. Epic.
I love that. All right, who was next?
I think we got JK and then Gussie.
All right, JK, would you like Starseed or Tarot? Do you have a question or do you just want a general pull? I really see that for you, Veda, the surrender. It's just this like, there's just no resistance there. It's really cool. Yeah.
Levitating and shit. Frog's transformation, babe. From the tadpole to the frog. Evolution. Yeah, it's a vibe.
If you're able, can I find out about the healing ability? Yeah.
I'm just going to go
pull one of... Yeah, all good. I might do one of each. See what the tarot says. I feel like there's a combined message here for you. I appreciate it. I feel special. You are special, babes. You're very welcome. And if anyone wants a one-on-one reading with me or energy like healing or mentorship session, I have a promo going at the moment. I didn't mention this before. You can use the code realign20 and it'll get you 20% off any of those 3 services until the end of Jan. So that will save you some shmonies if things are a bit tight. You know what? We get full and lost some cards. Oh, I love this for you. All right, the first card that's popped out tarot-wise is the 4 of Cups. And if you can kind of see, it's a guy here someone's holding a cup out for him and he's like standing there with his like arms crossed. It often comes up when we are in denial about something or we're refusing to see something that's right in front of us. And then here in the oracle cards, we have, I don't want to butcher this, the Sea of Mintaka. And that says seeing potential, bringing unconsciousness to light. And then you have Forge, Don't Follow. Pave a new path, be the leader you wish you had. And then you have Inner Earth, which is all about new solutions and beginnings. So I think this kind of affirms the suspicion I had that you definitely are a healer. You definitely have that innate ability to channel that healing energy for people. And there is a path there that exists for you to follow that and to fully embrace that and to walk that path of a healer. Yeah. Does that resonate? Does that make sense?
JK. I also have really sweaty.
They got the 4 of Cups here.
Oh wow.
That like not looking at it. Like
the magic is found in the things you avoid. And my hands are real sweaty, so I don't know if you get really hot hands. That's
you can also only avoid it for so long. Take it from me. I started my business 3 years ago and I've been pussyfooting around it for so long. And the universe went and tore my life up the past few months. So
because if you don't
listen to the whispers, they will become like raging shouts if you don't.
When you don't act,
that's awesome.
It's involved and makes certain things happen for you to learn.
I don't want to hijack your reading, but I heard you're not the first in your family line with this gift. JK? Or...
Me? Oh, it's JK. Oh, interesting.
So if it's connected to the miri that you were talking about, that's ancestral.
Yeah.
Like my healing abilities are ancestral, but all of the women until like 4 or 5 generations back have ignored it and like shut their gifts off because they couldn't deal.
Now we all have the ability to do so. Some are just more prominent and more it's thrust upon
like naturally adept.
Yeah.
It's like any skill. Like anyone can really do anything, but everyone has natural inclinations.
Yeah.
All right, Gussie, do you want Oracle or Tarot? And do you have a question? Did that make sense for you, JK?
I think she said, that is awesome. Yes, I always do have sweaty hands. Yeah.
There you go. You get 2 for the price of 1 here.
Double whammy. Gussie, you still here, babe? Whatever deck.
I might be typing the question. Whatever deck you're drawn to for me, please. Okay, do you have a question? You're very welcome, JK. You should, if you're interested and you have time tomorrow morning, come to the masterclass. It'll be really helpful for you if you're new to this journey. little up.
Whose was that?
Can you tap into my abilities also, please? I can have a little lookies. Might do the same. I'll shuffle through both and see what comes up. I've never done combo readings before, but they kind of make sense.
I love when you get the confirmation from that, where you sit there and you just full channel, and then the card that flips out just says exactly what you just said, and it's like you can't make it.
Have signed up, thanks Isabelle. Gorge. Is it just the one dog causing all that ruckus?
Yes, it's annoying as fuck. That's not my dog. My dog's sitting his calm. There's something at the front.
Impressive. I feel like we'll go over here. Oh, that's it. Okay. Alright, what I feel like is the most poignant here for you, and will be the most helpful, is you've got the courageous peony. And it says multifaceted, unique nature, let yourself be seen. And I see here that there is ghost is messing with my door. There is a journey here for you that you can walk and forge if you so choose. The support is there, the capacity is there. It's like the chariot is just like waiting to take you. Does that make sense? Does that resonate? Is there a link to book for a card? Like here? Or like do you want an in-depth reading with me?
This is just the intuitive hour, Deb. So we're doing this is the last card. We're gonna do a collective, and then Isabelle said she's jumping on her live to pull some cards for people. If you're interested, you can head over there and just make sure you're checking her follow.
I was saying when you left before as well, I forgot to mention anyone who books a one-on-one session with me until the end of Jan can use the code REALIGN20 to get 20% off.
Oh, and that's on your website, isabellerose.com.au.
Yeah. Sure does. Gorge. I love that. Alright, we'll do a collective pull for everyone watching. What does the collective need to hear? Whoop. So you can't come out in such a big jump. Let's try it. There's like 6 cards. I'm like, that's too much. Rein it in. Like there's one more that needs to come out. I can already see what this is going to be. Right, no, we're done. Okay. So, what we have is the Star Ancestors. It says, hidden secrets, lost wisdom, look a little deeper. Then we have deep cellular healing. Physical and emotional healing. What I'm seeing here is the collective. It's an invitation and an opportunity to go deeper, to kind of unearth the things that you've been hiding or suppressing, because it's time to heal them and it's time to break free from the limitations that those wounds impose on you. It's time to turn that pain and transmute it so it's not holding you back anymore.
Yeah. I love that. That's perfect because look, we're both healers, and look at what we're doing. You know what I mean? And I think knowing that you don't have to, like, yeah, you can do it on your own, right? You can walk the trenches and let it take years, or you can fast track stuff and come and sit with amazing, beautiful souls that have walked the path and that know the tricks and the best way to process things to help you heal. Because as healers, we don't technically heal you, we show you the way to heal yourself.
We
So
hold the space for you to heal yourself.
yeah, and it's like we are the light in the darkness. We help you find the switch to turn it on.
Yeah,
So
100%.
I love that.
I love that. That's such a that feels so right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for tonight, Isabelle. It has been fucking amazing. I absolutely love
Thank
your
you
energy.
for having me.
And
I can't, the luck of you happening on my live a week ago, and the way that my life has changed between then and now is fucking absurd.
well, they don't call me the genuine connection for no reason. And I've got this way of zoning in and finding the right people and the right people gravitating towards me too. So I'm very, very blessed to have met you because I feel like you're an amazing, beautiful soul who has amazing fucking abilities, and I can't wait for tomorrow. But guys, if you haven't signed up, get your ass over to Isabelle's page right fucking now. Or
it's free as well. I just need an hour of your time. And I will make it infinitely better.
Yeah, isabellerose.com.au. Sign up to her amazing masterclass tomorrow, 10 a.m. Sydney time. I'm going to be there, so I will better fucking see your asses there. Because if you've been all up in this stuff, you're going to fucking love tomorrow, okay? And make sure you check in her follow. You're going to jump on live and do some reads, are you?
Yeah, I'll take a 5-10 minute break and I'll jump back on. So anyone who wants a little reading from me, if you want to stick around or come back, 7 days. You're not the first person who's told me that. Look, if it's stupid early in the morning for you, I totally respect you not showing up. Get it?
You get the replay. Oh, but she's coming. So that's commitment right there. That's Deb's.
I appreciate that. Yeah, she's yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I appreciate that more than you know, Debs.
Definitely. And don't forget, check out
Laura.
Check out the amazing discounts as well. Right? 20%, was it? 20%.
20% off till the end of Jan.
I love that. All right, guys. Well, thank you again so much, Isabelle, for tonight. I am going to jump off tonight, guys. I've got some work to do, but I will be back on tomorrow. So best be seeing you. And again, thanks again, Isabelle. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, lovely. I appreciate it more than you know.
See you guys next time on the Intuitive Hour. I've got a few people lined up. So we've got a South American witch, practices voodoo and all sorts of jazz. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I like to actually find out the details to understand and decipher, because a lot of the times we think we know something. It's not always the case. So it's really good to explore. And I'm always telling people to look at things from a different perspective always. So be sure to tune in. I will let you know when he's coming on. His name is Rodrigo. And I've also got a few others lined up for the new year as well. So watch this space. Make sure you're checking us a follow as well. And we will see you next time. Big love. See you later.